Greetings and welcome to the Dr. J Vlog series. It's Sunday, January 26, 2025. And on Sundays, we look at the purpose and meaning of life. So here we are at the start of week 4 of our Dr. J Vlog series. And as some of you might know or may recall from the January 1st video that I released announcing the series, I committed to releasing a new vlog every day for the entire year, starting with the first one on January 5th of this year. And those who know me reasonably well will probably attest to my determination to ensure that that happens, even if there's no one watching. And that's okay. Why not use at least some of our precious time to speak our thoughts and sing our songs and to share whatever gifts we might have? So we cast our voices out into the universe, and if we're lucky and blessed, someone might hear us. Maybe a loved one, maybe a stranger, maybe an elder, a child in a manger. Sometimes the moments linger much longer, though. A voice can sometimes resonate even many years later. And on this particular day, I wanted to share a little bit of uh, someone's voice, someone who's passed. A guy by the name of Jim Valvano. He coached college basketball for over 2 decades, most famously at North Carolina State University, where he led his men's basketball team to the NCAA Division I championship in 1983. And in June 1992, Valvano was diagnosed with metastatic adenocarcinoma, a type of glandular cancer. And so in the following year, on March 4th of 93, Valvano spoke at the ESPY Awards at Madison Square Garden as the initial recipient of the Arthur Ashe Courage and Humanitarian Award. And so, what I intended to do today was share his speech or parts of his speech, which I tried to do, and then offer some commentary interspersed throughout as well. I did what I thought was actually my best video thus far, and unfortunately, that's been blocked though due to copyright infringement. So I'll not be able to play the speech. I will leave the link for the entire speech below in the description, and I definitely recommend that you have a look if you have an opportunity to do so. Um, and so I'll just briefly summarize a couple of key points then, and again, offer some additional thoughts of my own in that regard. So I'm going to change the view slightly here and actually just put up the website for Canadian Cancer Society because this is the issue that Valvano was dealing with, and I'll speak a little bit more about the foundation that he created towards the end of this blog. So uh, as he gets into his speech at the ESPYs, he's tired, he's struggling, but once he starts speaking, he truly comes alive, and he's incredibly engaging. And one of the comments that he makes early on in his 10, 12-minute speech, he talks about the importance of living our lives fully. And to do that in the simplest fashion, he talks about the importance of three things that we should do every day. We should laugh, we should think, and we should cry. That is, have ourselves moved by emotion to tears of some kind or another. Feel deeply. But actually, even before he talks about that gentle wisdom, he mentions that, quote, time is very precious to me. I don't know how much time I have left, and I have some things I'd like to say. So he goes on then to say some of what's on his mind. And I think it's incredibly inspiring. He tells a lovely story of his first pep speech as a young basketball coach back in the day at Rutgers University. I won't spoil that, so you can, again, listen to that if you haven't already. But if you've ever been a coach or a teacher, whatever the context, many of us remember that first day in the classroom or that first pep talk or just simply that first day on the job, right? We've all been there probably. And we want to leave an impression. We want to make a difference, or in some cases, to be an inspiration. to those around us. And sometimes we, however unintentionally, slip or trip or lose our grip, and we have to regain our balance. I've noticed that's one of the issues I've encountered as I get older. I tend to trip a little bit more. I stumble just a little bit more, both physically and sometimes in my speech as well, ever so slightly. Most people wouldn't notice it, but I can sense that tiny little bit of decline, that inevitable slow degradation of my abilities. Anyway, it's a fact of aging. But he talks about these issues in a humorous way, of course. And he talks about how he stumbled, if you will, metaphorically. Actually, not metaphorically, literally, when he did his first speech to his young charges to try to inspire them. And it's funny because he talks about this issue with a smile, with some embarrassment, but he recognized the humor in the situation. And to me, that's the key point. That is that willingness to laugh at ourselves, especially in those moments, right? This is what we're supposed to do. Why not enjoy even those accidental moments, those moments where we are less than perfect, shall we say? Because in my view, and perhaps Valvano's as well, every moment counts. Uh, it's another word in our story. Sure, some words are bigger or more descriptive or more important, but every word counts. Where would our sentences or our poetry be without the a's and the ands and the thes connecting our thoughts, as well as the periods and the commas and the colons? And I guess I've learned over the years that it's okay to fill out the pages of our lives, even with the smallest of moments. Those count as well. So, Coach V talks about the importance of having, as he describes it, an enthusiasm for life. You have to dream, he says, have a goal, and you have to be willing to work for it. Now, these are things that we all have accepted or understood over the years, to be sure. But to me, it's another way of him talking about everyone having a purpose in life. And he returned again to this idea of our precious moments. He says, I just got one last thing. I urge all of you, to enjoy your life, the precious moments you have, to spend each day with some laughter and some thought, to get your emotions going, to be enthusiastic every day. And then he talks about, in his final couple of minutes, what he intends to do with, quote, with whatever time I have left. And it's in those last couple of minutes that he talks about founding the Jimmy V Foundation for Cancer Research, an organization dedicated to finding a cure for cancer. Their motto is don't give up. Don't ever give up. And indeed, Coach V died 8 short weeks later. He'd hoped to be around for the next year ESPY Awards. He wanted to be the one giving out the award. And he said he'd do whatever he could. But, of course, unfortunately, he didn't last that much longer. And the nice thing, though, about this is that over 3 decades later, that foundation has generated over $400 million for cancer research. And if you're interested in giving to that particular foundation, another cool thing about it is they have an endowment, which means that that covers all the administrative costs. And every dollar that's given directly to cancer research goes to exactly that purpose, 100%. So it's a wonderful way to, of course, give back, right? And as he says in his speech, it may not save my life. It may save my children's life. It may save someone you love, end quote. Right? Now, of course, Most of us are not going to leave behind a foundation for cancer research. We're not going to change the world with some brilliant invention. We're not going to part the Red Sea. But your energy, no matter what form it might assume, gets passed along, even if you don't have children. It's the first law of thermodynamics. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. The conservation of energy. It merely changes forms, right? From the spark to a flame, from the foods that end up being metabolized within our system, even a hug that produces warmth and comfort. But while we're here and in this particular form, we have a great many options about how we might like to expend our energies. And without becoming too political per se or critiquing certain leaders in government, in industry, and even the media, and what they're doing with their energy, I'd like to appeal instead directly to your own inner knowledge and deep wisdom. You know every day if you're using your energy productively and positively. And conversely, you likely know when you're giving off negative energy through your thoughts and words and actions. You know whether you're helping or hurting others, or even yourself. And if you don't know that, or you don't recognize the cues or the signs, then perhaps seek some help in that regard. If you're being honest with yourself and clear in your thinking, you can see that in others as well. As long as you're committed to the pursuit of genuine truth and wisdom and to fulfilling your life's purpose, you know you're on the right track. It doesn't mean that you won't be tired or selfish at times, frustrated, or perhaps have some negative thoughts. Of course you will. We're human. But the never-ending pursuit of truth and wisdom and the purpose to which we've committed ourselves, all of that has a built-in self-correction mechanism for if we do fall short, or during those times and after those times that we do fall short. And what do I mean by that? Well, here's my shorthand summary description of falling short. It's when I'm giving off negative energy or operating as a destructive force and turning away from the light. Yes, I still do that from time to time myself. Much more rarely, thankfully, than in my younger years, or even compared to a decade ago, for that matter. These days, I estimate that I am phototropic, that is, bending toward the light, probably 85, maybe 90% of the time. But there's still work to do. But trust me, that's a much better grade than I would have received years ago in that regard. And I still aspire to doing better, improving. I hope you do as well. I look around me and I see wonderful people who seem to be bending toward that light so frequently, almost all the time. And I'm amazed by so many others and what I encounter. It's truly inspirational. And are we not all attracted to the warmth and positive energy of such people? Conversely, do you also not know, or can you not obviously see when others are preaching hatred toward their fellow human beings or other species, or intent upon hurting or raping others or destroying their environment? Maybe not always, obviously. And some, of course, have been damaged or deluded to the point where they can no longer see the light or see the light within themselves. But if you can still see clearly, like Johnny Nash once sang, I can see clearly now. If that's possible, then here's my caution, my advice. And it's very much along the lines of that old saying, beware of false prophets. Be wary of listening to the voices of the preachers of hatred and harm. But especially if these people are in positions of power and influence, and to whom special status and privilege have been granted. We all know deep in our bones that anyone who believes that the world can be set right by destroying people's lives, by taking advantage of others, to profit, to grift at their expense, and by renouncing empathy and compassion in favor of malice and hatred, you know, I know, we all know that such people have turned away from their God and their truth, or their concepts of such a nature. And if that's you, or you see that within others who are in your sphere of influence, then surely you and I have work to do. But as Coach V implored, don't give up, don't ever give up. Do not descend into your own darkness. And similarly, don't fall under the shadow of Mordor, as Tolkien would say, or the shadow of those who remain trapped in their own darkness. If possible, and this is perhaps the hardest thing of all, myself included, try to help and provide nourishment to even those people and those who would hurt you, to help them to gather their strength and redirect their energies to walk again in the light of the sun. Okay, that's it for today. So, if you can give to the Cancer Foundation, give to the charities of your cause, give to the people around you as best you're able to, with whatever positive energy you're able to muster. And if you don't have it at that given moment, take a break. Give yourself some time away and recharge and come back and say, I'll see you tomorrow. And I do indeed hope I will see you tomorrow. So until then, may you and yours continue to create the most positive aspects of self-enlightenment and peace in your lives, and always nurture that love in your heart. Bye-bye.